Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Jack Ford. Governor Cuomo has directed the state's attorney general to investigate Manhattan District Attorney's office and their handling of a case. This comes as concerns mount over just how District Attorney Vance's office handled a 2015 sexual assault allegation against the disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. The investigation was announced hours after prominent activists spearheading the Time's Up movement wrote a letter to the governor calling on him to act and stating their concern that previous cases had not been pursued with full vigor. The focus is specifically on the case of Ambra Battilana, an Italian model who provided police officers with a recording of Harvey Weinstein apologizing when she asked him why he had groped her breasts the day before. A New York Magazine feature piece tells Battilana's story in depth and details how the efforts of an NYPD sex crimes investigative team to arrest Harvey Weinstein were reportedly interfered with by the Manhattan District Attorney's office. Eric Bates is the feature editor for New York Magazine, and we're pleased to welcome him here today. Eric, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So let me ask you to give our viewers a little bit more of an expansive view of the allegations that Ambra Battilana had brought to the police about her contact with Harvey Weinstein.
As Battilana walked into a precinct house in March of 2015 and told officers that she had been groped by Harvey Weinstein at his office. She had met him the night before. He had invited her to his office to talk about possible roles he would have for her. And according to her, when she got there, he asked if her breasts were real and reached out with both hands and groped her. When she told him to stop, he put a hand up under her skirt and continued to press. And then at the end, got her tickets to a Broadway performance that he was producing for later that night.
I mentioned in the introduction that one of the aspects of these allegations that are certainly different from some of the other allegations that we've seen out there was that they were able to get Harvey Weinstein essentially on tape talking about this. How did that come about?
That's right. It happened actually while Battilana was talking to the detectives and giving her statement. Weinstein called her up and asked her why she hadn't shown up at the Broadway theater for the show that he had gotten her tickets for. The police, thinking very quickly, realized that this was an opportunity for what they call a controlled call, an opportunity to record Weinstein and effectively get an admission on tape. So they coached Battilana what to say to him. She asked him how her breasts had felt when he had touched them, and he basically admitted that he had touched them by saying they felt great. So they then, at that point, within basically an hour or so of the investigation beginning, had a taped admission from Harvey Weinstein.
Now, I'm a former prosecutor, also a former defense attorney. So looking at what you've explained so far, from my perspective as a prosecutor, I'm probably saying this is sounding pretty solid in terms of a case here. What then changes? And let me ask you to bring in some of the characters here. Chief Michael Osgood, who was in charge of one of these sex and crimes investigation units, became the one who was handling this. How did it proceed? And then what's the conflict that you've written about with regard to them and the DA's office?
Well, from the start, Osgood and his team at the Special Victims Division that investigates sex crimes for the NYPD realized they had to handle this case differently. They put none of their records up on the NYPD system. They gave reports to each other only orally and not in writing. They limited the investigation to 6 officers because they knew from the start that Weinstein would try to lawyer up and try to bring pressure to bear on them to drop the investigation. What's fascinating is from the very start, they also debated whether to call District Attorney Cy Vance's office because they feared that he too would try to interfere with the case on Weinstein's behalf. The case actually got better almost immediately because the police used the control call to set up a meeting between Battilana and Weinstein the next day at the Tribeca Grand Hotel. At that meeting, which the police recorded, they again got Weinstein on tape admitting that he had molested her. They approached him to bring him down to the station house, and he immediately began to threaten the detectives, saying, "Do you know who I am? Call the police commissioner. I'm going to call the mayor." And when they took him into the police station and he heard that Battilana was the one who had come forward with a statement, he immediately refused to say anything, and he hired lawyers. The lawyers he hired were directly connected to Cy Vance's office. One was his former law partner and a donor to his campaign. The lawyers then hired the woman who was the head of Vance's own sex crimes unit. So the former prosecutor in charge of sex crimes for the district attorney was now working on Weinstein's behalf. So Vance immediately was facing a team of very high powered lawyers who he knew personally and who had worked for him and with his team. The police, from that moment, began to feel that they weren't on the same side as the district attorney anymore. The district attorney, according to our sources, went to Amber Badalana's apartment, began to interrogate her roommates, asked if she were a prostitute, asked if she were a stripper, began to look at the apartment building's video camera to see who she was bringing home. And Badalana, when she heard this, began to cry, became very upset, and the police became very convinced that the district attorney was now effectively working to discredit the victim on behalf of Weinstein and Weinstein's team.
Many viewers, I suspect, are watching here and listening to our conversation and saying to themselves, well, wait a minute. The NYPD works as the investigative branch, if you will. They work in conjunction with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The District Attorney's Office has their own investigators, but most cases are coming through the NYPD, through those channels, if you will. And I suspect viewers are saying, well, aren't they partners in all of this? Why would there be a division here? And I should note, and as you know, the District Attorney's Office released a statement in response to the article reading, quote, the publication's account does not accurately represent the strong relationship between the NYPD and Manhattan DA Cy Vance's office, and that the two offices, quote, are fully committed partners in their investigation and prosecution of sexual assault. Now, looking at the conversations your reporters have had, and especially with Chief Osgood, why did they believe, do you think, that the district attorney's office was trying to, using the words that were used in the article, to derail this investigation into Harvey Weinstein?
Well, what's interesting is that they feared that from the very start of the investigation. And I think that's in part because of their experience with the district attorney's office and working with them. And it's in part because of the clout that they knew Weinstein would bring to bear. You're absolutely right. The police and the prosecutors are supposed to be working together to bring solid cases and to bring perpetrators to justice. They do have slightly different functions. The prosecutor obviously has to figure out, is this going to hold up in court? And is a jury going to believe the witness and the victim? So they do have different functions within the system, but they are supposed to be on the same team. And the police clearly did not feel that the DA's office was on the team, and I think that's largely because of politics. The police are free to investigate largely on their own. The district attorney is elected official. He moves among the power centers of the city. He takes campaign donations from some of the very people he's investigating. I think that's where it gets complicated, that the police felt that the DA was going to side with the person who had the most clout rather than the person who had had a crime perpetrated against them.
Last question for you then. It happens occasionally, and again, as a prosecutor, it's happened to me, where a prosecutor has to say to an investigator, look, I understand your zeal to get this person, and I want to get him too. Bad person, we need to get him off the street. However, we have different functions. You've put together a case, and there's enough there, there's what's called probable cause, the lowest standard in our justice system, to get an indictment. But I, as the prosecutor, have to try this, and I need to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt to get a conviction. And what you sometimes have to say to your investigators is, look, if we bring a high-profile case such as this, and we don't have enough to get us beyond a reasonable doubt, we're all going to look terrible, and all your good work basically goes away. What did you find the response was, Chief Osgood and the investigators, to this suggestion that, all right, you didn't bring us enough to get a conviction. You didn't bring us proof beyond a reasonable doubt?
What's interesting is how angry some of the officers and detectives who worked on the case still are 3 years later about the DA's decision. They felt they had more than enough evidence for probable cause and reasonable doubt. One of them pointed out, I think one of them didn't point out, but one of the things that came up was the fact that this is a misdemeanor charge. People are charged on this crime all the time for groping women in the subway with far less evidence than they had against Harvey Weinstein. It's effectively 2 recorded admissions of the crime. So the police felt like they had gone above and beyond because they knew from the start what they were facing, and they knew that the bar was going to be much higher in this case, and they felt that they more than cleared that bar.
Well, Eric Bates, New York Magazine. It was a compelling and very provocative article, and we appreciate your spending some time and sharing some of your thoughts with us. Thanks, Eric. You take care.
Thanks for having me.